The first crack didn't sound like betrayal. It sounded like a phone vibrating on polished wood. Stuck at work. Happy 36th. A smiling emoji, the kind you send when you're already somewhere else. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. The restaurant had dimmed the lights for evening service. Candles trembled. Glassware chimed softly. Couples leaned toward each other, trading futures. I sat alone, jacket still on, napkin folded like it was waiting for permission to exist. I told myself to wait. I always waited. Waiting had been my talent in this marriage. Minutes became courses I didn't order. The chair across from me stayed empty. The server checked in with the careful pity reserved for men who have dressed up for nothing. I nodded, calm, controlled, smiling like a man with a plan. The bill arrived face down. That alone felt final. As she placed it on the table, the waiter leaned in. Her voice was barely air. "Sir," she whispered, eyes flicking toward the hallway. "Your wife is in private dining room number 5 with her boyfriend." The word boyfriend landed clean. No echo, no apology, just fact. I didn't argue. I didn't ask for proof. My chest didn't tighten, it emptied. The hallway was carpeted in red, thick, indulgent. Each step muted, each breath measured. I noticed the framed photographs on the wall, old black and whites of the city before it learned how to lie better. I noticed my reflection in the glass. A man walking towards something he would never unsee. Outside the door, laughter leaked through. Familiar laughter, practiced. Comfortable. I paused. That was the moment something in me disconnected. Not anger, not grief, attachment. I pushed the door open. She was there first. My wife. Hair done the way she used to do when she wanted to feel admired. Her hand rested on the table, fingers curled around a wine glass like it belonged to her. Then I saw him and the room tilted, not from shock but from clarity. It was Daniel, my best friend, my business partner, the man who toasted our wedding and called me brother. The silence stretched. Their faces froze in the exact same way. A shared instinct, a shared secret. I cataloged details instead of emotions. His watch, one I'd gifted him after our first profitable year. The cufflinks custom paid for with company money. Her necklace, my anniversary present. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't step forward. I smiled. "Happy birthday," Daniel said, standing halfway. The audacity was almost impressive. That was when the bond died. Not dramatically, quietly, like a switch flipped by someone who finally understood the wiring. I left without another word. Let them fill the silence with whatever lies they'd rehearsed. Hallway felt shorter on the way back, the dining room louder. I paid the bill, tipped generously. Control likes to leave no loose ends. In the car I didn't scream, I planned. Daniel and I shared more than memories. We shared access, accounts, signatures, trust built on years of mutual leverage. My wife shared more than a bed with him. She shared ignorance. She never learned how the machinery worked. She just enjoyed the comfort it produced. That night I slept deeply because clarity is restful. The next morning I started removing oxygen. First the company, quiet audits, emails forwarded, a lawyer who owed me a favor and hated surprises. By noon, I had timelines, transactions, patterns that weren't mine. Daniel had been siphoning. Not enough to notice unless you were looking for betrayal. By Friday, the board knew. By Monday, the bank accounts froze. Daniel called once, twice, then a dozen times. His messages shifted from confusion to anger to something thinner. Fear. Second, the house. I changed nothing. I let my wife keep believing in the illusion of normal. I kissed her cheek, asked about her day, watched her lie without realizing the audience had changed. I filed quietly, evidence attached. Dates, locations, private dining room number 5. When the papers arrived, she cried like she'd misplaced something valuable. She asked how I could do this to her. I listened, patient, curious, like a man observing a species he'd once trusted. Third, the social circle. Truth doesn't need volume when it has documentation. Friends drifted. Invitations stopped. Daniel's name became a weight people avoided lifting. His reputation collapsed under the simple pressure of facts. Weeks passed. The panic ripened. He showed up at my office one evening, eyes hollow, tie loosened like he'd finally realized. It was choking him. He begged not for forgiveness, for intervention. "She said you'd understand," he whispered. That almost made me laugh. I leaned back, calm, measured. "I did," I said. "That's why this worked." The final confrontation wasn't loud. It was precise. My wife sat across from me at the kitchen table, The same table where we planned vacations and futures. Her hands trembled. She asked if there was anything left to save. I told her the truth. You were honest with him, I said, not with me. I adjusted accordingly. She reached for me. I stood. Daniel tried to call again. That night, I didn't answer. Consequences don't need witnesses. The house sold. The company stabilized. My name stayed clean. Theirs didn't. Now, when I think back to that restaurant, I don't feel rage. I feel gratitude for the waiter's whisper, for the private room, for the moment the lies stepped into the light and stopped wasting my time. Betrayal taught me something valuable. Respect isn't reclaimed through chaos. It's reclaimed through control. And the most satisfying revenge isn't destruction. It's watching them realize too late that you were always the one holding the door.